Hey guys, today we're going to be working on drop-down lists, alright? These are essential for when you're working with other people, sharing files or giving out formats for people to actually fill out. Then drop-down lists are going to be an absolute lifesaver because they prevent other people from making stupid mistakes. And yes, they also prevent you from doing stupid mistakes. Now guys, if you're already familiar with drop-down lists, you might want to skip the first part of the video. We're going to be covering 3 exercises that increase in complexity. In the first place, we're going to learn how to do those actual drop-down lists, all right? In the second exercise, we're going to learn how to do dynamic drop-down lists that are going to be updated as we add items to the source material. And then in the third exercise, we're going to learn how to do double drop-down lists, which are, well, pretty much the highest form of drop-down list that you can create. All right, so guys, let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. As I mentioned in the introduction, we're going to be looking at 3 exercises with increasing levels of complexity. However, none of them are hard. Alright? So let's suppose we have something like this. We have a list of meals, and then we have a place where we can actually pick the meal, and it's going to bring us back the price. Alright? The price is already set here, so no problem there. If I were to type in something like cornbread, then we'd get a proper price, all right? We get a proper price right here. But if I were to type in something like corn bread, which is probably something really fraudulent, then I'd get an NA, all right? Because it's not right here. Now, as to how I'm bringing the price, it's just a VLOOKUP for those who care, but it's not within the scope of the video, all right? We're just going to be looking at the drop-down lists. All right, guys. So if I type in something correctly, then I get the price, and if I type it in incorrectly, then I do not get the price. Now, this is really important because whenever you design something like this to be used by your boss, your secretary, your coworkers, they're usually pretty incompetent when it comes to typing down things, all right? And they're going to break stuff. So this, what we're going to be doing with drop-down lists is making sure that they type in exactly what we want them to type, all right? So how would I go about fixing that? Really simple. Make sure that you select the cell where you want the drop-down list to exist, in this instance G12. Go over to where it says data, and go over to where it says data validation. All right, data validation. If you have a small screen like a laptop or something, you have to look for this icon. All right, guys? Now press on it, and you're going to get this little dialog box here. All right, so allow list. All right, allow list. The source is going to be pretty much my entire list, just with the meal names, all right? We don't want anything else. We don't want to include the prices, just the meal names. All right, guys, I'm going to press OK right now. And notice how I am going to get a list of authorized meals that we can use, all right? So we have steak tacos, we have salmon, we have pretty much everything that we want, and it's going to bring us back a price. Now, stuff that we want to make sure that actually works. Well, the first thing that I want you to notice is if I try to type in something wrong, say for example, instead of salmon, I type in slamon, there's a typo and I get an error. However, the error is pretty generic. It tells me that the value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. If anybody of you has worked with people that are beginners in Excel, they usually get freaked out by this kind of mistake, all right? Because they think this is a system error and they end up calling IT support or something to report like Excel keeps bringing up this error. So just press cancel and let's make it easier on our coworkers. So I'm going to go over here to data. And selecting the place where my drop-down list is supposed to be, I'm going to head over again to my drop-down to my data validation square, all right, to my data validation dialog box. However, instead of going to settings, I'm going to go over here to input message, and I'm going to modify this. Now, the input message, you'll notice, is instructions for the user on how to work this little drop-down list, all right? So let's go ahead and type in a really friendly message for our user. So it's going to be hello, and then I'm going to type in something like, please pick an item from the list or type the item correctly. Have a nice day. Yay. All right. So now I'm going to press OK. Notice how whenever I select this this little box here, I'm going to get this this yellow square, well, yellowish square that's going to tell me the instructions. Please pick an item from the list or type in the item correctly. Have a nice day. All right. And it's just there as an instruction manual. All right. However, there's also the dark side of data validation, which is the error alert. Now, the error alert is there once the user has already messed up, all right? So what I'm going to tell you to do, I am going to type in something a little teensy bit more aggressive than my input message. Useless idiot. Told you from the list. You imbecile. HR has been contacted. There we go. As I said, it tins a little bit more aggressive than the input message. So what would happen here? If I select something from the list, no problem. But if I type in something and there's a typo there, say for example, the Citrix or whatever, I tried to do Citrix with a typo, then I get my friendly error message, all right? I get my friendly error message here. Now, one last thing that I always get asked by my classroom students about the error messages is this thing here in the style, all right? This actually makes a difference. Whenever you set the style to stop, all right, Excel is not going to allow you to go on with your tomfoolery, all right? So if I do topical instead of tropical, then it either asks me to retry or to cancel, but I cannot go on, all right? Now, however, if I change the style to warning, then it's going to ask me if I want to go on, all right? So if I do roasted pear instead of roasted pear, I get the error message, but I get asked to continue. And if I click yes, then it's going to allow it, all right? Finally, we have the blue information style, all right? This one is pretty useless as traffic goes, all right? Why? It's going to allow anything through. It's just going to let you off with, it's not even a warning, all right? It's just an information message. So if I select something from here, all right. But if I mess up, say Margaret instead of Margarita, I get my error message informing me that I'm a useless idiot, but then I can press OK and go ahead, plow ahead with my mistakes, all right? So guys, that really depends on what type of data validation you're looking for. Either strict with the stop button or really pretty much useless with the information button. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it as strict with the stop button. All right, guys, there we go. Now let's select something from the list and move on. Notice how now I get my price. That's it. All right, guys, that's it for basic drop-down lists. Now let's move over to dynamic drop-down lists. Notice how it's here, instead of having meals, we have smaller lists that consists of drinks. All right. Now, guys, you already know how to do drop-down lists, so let's plow ahead and do it. I'm going to go over to data. I'm going to go over to data validation, and I'm going to select allow list, and the source is going to be all of this here. All right, guys. So say for example, I'm going to select whatever beer or whatever wine or whatever drink I choose. I'm going to get my price right here. All right. Now, however, imagine, well, don't imagine, actually consider the fact that I selected this list right here as the source for my drop-down list. All right, guys. Now, suppose that in the restaurant we get a bunch of new beverages that are going to be available in the menu. So let's say we got champagne, tequila, and I don't know, whiskey. All right, and they're all going to be evenly priced for $100 a bottle. All right, I just added 3 new drinks right here to my bottle. However, if once I go over here, notice how at the very end it's still sparkling wine. The 3 new drinks, they are not there. Let me just paint them yellow so to make sure that you know these are new drinks. And they're not there, all right? So what can I do? Well, the first option is going over to data validation and clicking right here where you can expand the list. But this is really impractical, all right? This is really impractical. Notice how I have here my 3 additional items. Well, there's another option, right? There's another option. And that one is much, much better. What you're going to do is you're going to go over here and select any item on your drink list, whichever item you please. And then you are going to go over to your Insert tab and then click on Insert Table, all right? Insert Table. Now, guys, it's not a pivot table. It's just a simple run-of-the-mill vanilla table. You can also press Ctrl-T on your keyboard doesn't matter, all right? So it's going to ask you where's the data for your table, and you're going to tell it right here and that your table has headers. So now we converted our source list into a table. Now, how's this going to work? I have to go back to my data, back to my data validation, and I'm going to allow any value right now just in order to clean it up and reset my list. And then go back here to data validation and now allow a list again, all right? Allow list. The source is going to be pretty much everything on the table. It seems like we didn't change anything, all right, guys? It seems like we didn't change anything. And in fact, we didn't. We have the same items here. But let's suppose we get 3 more items. I'm going to start typing them down right here after the table ends. Notice what happens. What am I missing? Rum, vodka, and another hard liquor, gin, right? And these ones are going to be sold for $200 a bottle. All right, guys, notice this little blue item here, this little blue button right here? That means that they are already part of the table, all right? They're already part of the table, and that means that I can go over here to my drop-down list, and what do you think we'll find at the end? Rum, vodka, and gin. All right, they get automatically added to my drop-down list so long as they are part of this table. And whichever new drink I add right here in my list, let's do something non-alcoholic. I don't know, sparkling water. Notice how my little blue edge of the table got moved down in order to include sparkling water for $10 a bottle. And if I go down here, I select sparkling water, and yeah, it's already available there. All right, guys. So if you want your drop-down list to be dynamic and get updated with whatever new items you have, make sure that the source items are in an Excel table. All right, it's that simple. Before Excel tables were available with this feature, people had to do some really complicated offset formulas, and that's not necessary anymore. All right, just do your table. Now, guys, let's go over to the last exercise where we're going to be doing the double drop down. All right, we're going to be doing double drop down. So what's going to happen here? Notice how we have here a list of meals and drinks at the same time. All right, so what we want to happen here is we want to choose first the type of the type of product that we're going to be selecting, either meals or drinks, and then have a list here that only reflects meals or drinks. All right, so for the first item here, where we can select either meals or drinks, it's really simple. It's just a normal run-of-the-mill vanilla drop-down list. So select your cell where the drop-down list is going to go, come over here to data, select data validation, and I'm going to tell it to allow list. All right, and the source is pretty much going to be these 2 items here. All right, the source is going to be these 2 items. So I'm going to select OK, and notice how this is really simple. It's either meal or drink, nothing else. All right, now here comes the hard part. I want it so that if you have meal selected in the type, if you have meal selected here, then you should have a list of, the product list should come from this list in column B. Whereas if you have drink selected here, then the product list should come from column C, all right, from the items here in column C. So how is it going to work out? Well, the first thing that you have to make sure is that the titles of your columns, which are the ones that are going to be feeding the first list, they have no spaces. All right, that's the first thing that you have to check out. In this instance, none of this have spaces. I'm going to tell you later why that is. All right, now, second thing that we have to do, select your entire meal list, select the entire meal list, and then head up here, and click on your name box. All right, you probably never used it before. Most Excel users never actually use the name box, but it's there for a reason. All right, so click on your name box. Right now it says B13. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to type in meal. All right, it has to be written in pretty much the exact same way, or at least it should be written the exact same way as the title that's fitting this list. All right, and then I'm going to go over here to drink, and I'm going to select every single drink right here, head over up to my name box, delete this, and type in drink, and press enter. All right, it seems like nothing happened, but if I head up here to my name box and drag this, if I click drink, I select this, and if I click meal, I select this. All right, guys. Okay, So now let's actually do our drop-down list. It's going to be really simple. Head over to this little cell right here, select data and data validation. All right, now that we have the square open, the dialog box open, I'm going to select to allow list. However, instead of actually selecting a source like we traditionally did, we're going to input a formula here. And there's two types of formula you can do. The first one is using something called indirect. All right, so check it out. I'm going to type in indirect, open parenthesis, select my previous drop-down list, the one that's in G11, and then close parenthesis. All right, and then I'm going to press OK. Now notice how my drop-down list is ready, and I get just the drinks. All right, and if I select meal, then I get just the meals. All right, so how does indirect work? Let's go back to that because let me explain it. What indirect does, the formula does, is it reads whatever is in my G10 cell, all right? Whatever is in my G10 cell. So it reads meal. And indirect is going to use it as a reference. It's going to interpret it as a reference and check out if any cell is actually named meal. Well, in this particular instance, it's true because we actually named it meal, all right? All of these cells right here, they're named meal. So indirect is going to check out this named meal, this named meal. So it's referring to all of these cells, all right? A lot of my classroom students have trouble understanding this because, well, we're actually using meal, this meal word, to refer to a range of cells, to the range that goes from B13 to B55, and the same thing goes for drink, all right? Indirect is going to read drink, and it's going to interpret it as the list of cells that goes from C13 to C37. C37. All right, guys? Now, one thing that I want you to notice that if I have meal and I select a meal, say, for example, the oven cheese, then it's all fine and dandy. If I come here and I select a drink, it's not going to balk at the fact that I have the oven cheese selected, all right? You're going to notice the change until you open the list again. Now you have just the drinks, all right? So keep that in mind. It's not going to be an automatic, say, for example, it's not going to be an automatic refusal if you change stuff from the original list. Now, there's another way to create this very same formula. All right, let's go back to your data validation for your second list, for the product list, and open your dialog box. All right, there's a second way, and it's instead of using the indirect formula, you can use the if function. All right, so I'm going to tell the following. If G10 equals the word meal, and remember to put it quote unquote because it's text and Excel needs the quotes to actually understand the text. Then comma, you have to return everything in the meal range, everything from B13 to B55. Notice how it started out as a range, and as soon as I get to B55, it transforms into meal because that range I already named it meal. All right. But you don't need the actual name range. You can say, for example, I could actually just select everything from B13 to B53 or to B54. Right now it turns into meal, and if I select an extra cell, it goes back to reference. All right, guys? So that's something that's really powerful about names and about Excel in general. All right, guys, if it's meal, then return meal. And if it's not meal, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume it's going to be drink. So if it's not meal, then return everything on your drink list. Again, notice how I'm trying to tell it to return a range, except that in this instance, it's going to be a range called drink. All right. So I'm going to close my parenthesis and check it out. It works just the same. I select drink and I get my drinks here. I select meal and I get my meal list here. All right, guys. So which one is better? It's up to you. All right. Cell reference names, they have their disadvantages. First and foremost is the fact that you can't use spaces in the names, and the items in the list, in the first list, have to be named identically to how you are going to name them here in the name box. All right. If you use the if function, it probably takes out a little bit more to write, but it's much more flexible. You can allow for spaces, you can allow for pretty much anything that you want, and you can select from multiple lists, not just 2, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. However, you have to have a very decent understanding of the if function in order to get it to work. All right, guys, with that we are done. There's like a fourth tier of complexity with drop-down lists, but for that you need macros, all right? For that you need Visual Basic, so it's beyond the scope of this video. So I'm leaving you with that. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and leave your comment, tell all your friends, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Do you want to be an Excel god? Our online course will turn you into an Excel master in only 90 days. Excel is the most important tool in the office, but almost nobody knows how to use it. Most people dive right into Excel with no formal training and never use the right tools. And thus, they end up delivering messy reports that are full of mistakes, and they end up hating their jobs. In reality, Excel is really simple to use and can do your job for you, if you know how to use it. But you have to pick the right place to learn from, or you'll only end up more confused with all of the different tools and functions that Excel has to offer you. So, what can you do? Our Excel course is tailor-made for you. We're going to teach you Excel, all of Excel, using real-life examples. From simple exercises to full-fledged business case studies. Take the online course and you'll be an Excel god in only 90 days. The course consists in more than 45 lessons and 15 case studies, all with their detailed solutions completely recorded in video, and you're going to be able to access them whenever you want, whatever you want. Best of all, you're going to have lifetime access to the course, and you're going to get any of the updates that we're constantly putting out for free. Even better, when you get our course, you'll have free access to our full Visual Basic and Macros course, and also to our Power BI course, all with just one single purchase. More than 3,000 students have passed through our classrooms. We've attended companies like Kodak, IBM, Cemex, HP, Continental, DB Schenker, and more. So, if you want to absolutely master Excel, make sure that you sign up now. You will become an Excel guy. A2 Excel.